right. In three, two, one. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Platinum Podcast. I know it took a little break, but we're back with a very special guest, someone that I really looked up to when I was younger within music or just Hmong music or with just self growth, and somebody who really took it upon herself to not be stopped by with just one community, but to expand and to grow as a musician and as a person. I got Amanda Yang with me. How's it going?
Good. It's good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad. Kind of nervous, honestly.
Yeah, me too. So we're both nervous.
Yeah. I mean, before any like podcast I do get really nervous just because like I do podcasts with people that like really inspires me and really motivates me. And you were at the top of the list when I started this podcast last year.
Really?
Yeah, that I really wanted. That's why like I don't know if you saw like Facebook I messaged you, Instagram I messaged you, I emailed you. And I was like, "Oh, she didn't reply. All right, that's fine."
Dude, your follow-up game is insane. That's gonna take you places because half the time I'll open it. I have a bunch of people who are on my Facebook page, so they get
Mhm.
the same notification. So I don't know if like maybe
Right.
they opened it or something like that. So
Yeah.
the fact that you followed up so many times, that's actually how I got on my last podcast. That guy's follow-up game was like
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just I don't know, your resume is just huge because like you started music or you started doing covers and music back in like 2010, 2011, somewhere around there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a journey. I think I was maybe like 13 or 14, maybe 15. I was just like writing,
Mm,
excuse me, I was like singing songs on the ground of my bathroom, right? I had an
yeah,
iPod Touch. Is that what it was called back then?
I think
Yeah,
so.
and like I would that's literally what I used to record all my like YouTube videos and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think at that time there was so many people that we see today that are up and coming or already on top of the game. They started way back then. You know what I mean? Like you, Isabel, David Yang, Killer Universe, and all those OG people that's been in the game since the 2009 or Hmong YouTube. Right now, they're doing what they want to do, and right now they're elevating the game so much. Right now,
Yeah, it's the grind never stops. That's the one thing, like, people think that, music or, like, you become successful over, like, overnight or, like, for whatever reason, you, like, pop out of nowhere, and they think it's that easy, but
right?
it's the work you put behind it, like, what those people have been doing it for years too, like, I believe we're all the same age, so we've literally been doing
Yeah,
it for
I think
10 years
over
now.
10 years. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
crazy, and that's just it. Just that just shows like to anybody who wants to like be in this game 10 years. That's probably the shortest time.
Yeah, for real. Like, if you don't have 10 years in the game, then you shouldn't be crying. Like, you gotta keep
Right,
going until you
right.
get there. It's a lot of dead end roads, but it's so rewarding if you have a really good, like, I like to call it like your why, like your reason
Mm,
why you're doing it. You just gotta fall back on that every time.
right. I mean, that goes along with any type of like passion or just work.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I've just been doing this for a year and I feel like I've been doing a lot. And I know I've been having so many like awesome people like yourself on my
Thanks.
podcast. And I'm very blessed. I'm very humbled to meet you guys and to have a conversation with you guys about this stuff. But like, this is just the beginning. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for
Have
sure.
I have a question for you.
Mhm.
Have you ever thought about doing voice acting?
I mean, of course, it came across my mind. I think it comes across everybody's mind. Like, oh, maybe I could go into acting or voice acting or something. Within the entertainment industry.
You have a really good um like your voice is really good. Like the tone of
Oh
your voice
yeah.
is perfect. So like I was just curious. I was listening to your stuff and like doing my own research before
Mm.
we met
Yeah, yeah,
and
for sure.
um I was like is this wait, is is this guy Hmong? Wait, what? Like you have a very great like announcer voice. You like don't you can't even see
Thank you.
What's yeah, I can't even explain it, but
Yeah, I
it's
mean, like,
great.
growing up, I've always been monotone. Like, I can't like express my like expression or like feelings through my voice. You know what I mean? So I think it's just been really low ever since I hit puberty, and then ever since that, it's
You're like,
just been
"Let's do
low.
it. This is
Yeah, I was
me."
like, I mean, it was just, I guess, I see it as a blessing for me not to have feelings through my voice. You know, because I like to talk and I like to be on with everybody. You know what I mean? So. But yeah, that's pretty cool how you noticed that. I don't think I've gotten a comment on my voice ever.
It might be because I listen to a lot of podcasts,
Oh,
and
okay.
the type of people I like to listen to, they have voices like yours, like, they're
Oh,
easy, um, it's, like, soothing, I don't know how to explain it. It's, like, soothing, but inspiring, but, like, get shit done type of
gotcha,
vibe.
gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like strict, but not too strict. It's pretty laid
Mhm.
back. But yeah, I mean, like, just going off the bat, like, how did you even get into music? Because, like, I know back then there was, even now, like, there's so many Hmong people, Hmong kids, like, into music. Like, of course, when we were kids, everybody tries to break dance, everybody tries to sing, everybody tries to pick up
Yeah.
a guitar or a piano or something. So I know it's in our genes, right? Music
Mhm.
is, I know for sure, is in our genes. But then how did you start picking up like a guitar and start singing?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. So, I feel like I have a bunch of different things I, like, compiled together that brought me to that.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's story is that I was a really like, I needed something to make friends because I was bullied a lot as a little tiny peanut, like, in elementary school, and so she pushed me towards singing and, like, acting and all that stuff. She put me in, like, after school programs to, like, I don't know, build my confidence or whatever, like,
Right.
meet
Yeah.
people. So she did that. But then in middle school, I like the end of middle school, my dad got dumped, or he dumped this one girl that he was dating because my parents are divorced,
Mm-hmm.
and she had bought him a guitar, and my dad was like, "I don't want this, like, do you want this?" And I was like, "Yeah, like, I wanna learn how to play You and I by JRA, like,
Right.
yeah, give
Right.
me the guitar." And so he gave me it. So thank you to, that lady for breaking up with my dad or whatever, whichever way
Right.
it went.
Wherever
And
she
so
is
I
now.
wherever she is now, she got me that guitar, got it from my dad, and then I taught myself how to play on YouTube, like, through
Mm-hmm.
tutorials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's how I started, like, there. My parents, though, were super against me being on the internet. Like, they're like,
Mm.
"Stranger danger, like, stay away
Right.
from it, keep your stuff off, like, delete that video." But my cousins were all posting stuff and they were doing good, and I was like, I wanna do this, and so I could totally do better. Like, what are we
Right.
doing? And with your cousins, you're like always in when you're young, it's always a competition. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I did it anyway, and then, I don't remember if I got in trouble, but I know that eventually, like, my YouTube views started, like, tracking or,
Mm-hmm.
like, getting traction,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom and dad just kinda, like, left me alone. They're like, "Okay, yeah, like, I guess it's okay that you do that."
Yeah, right. I mean, that's how like most Hmong people, most Hmong parents are like, oh, like you shouldn't do that until they actually see like growth in it, or they actually see something like good
Yeah.
in it. You know what I mean?
Mhm. It's
Yeah,
like the
but
eternal curse and struggle, but blessing, all in
right,
one.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's hard, but once we reach the end of it, there's a whole nother journey to begin with. And then now you're on Spotify. I know you started with YouTube mainly, that
Mhm.
like everybody, but then what interested me so much about your career is that you made a transfer from YouTube to Spotify, and a whole different platform that I feel like Hmong people hasn't really touched on yet, or haven't discovered yet. So what made you like have that transition? Because it's so interesting to me that like there's so many platforms out there like SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, that we have so many platforms, and we like Hmong musicians can put their stuff out on. But then
Mhm.
Spotify hasn't been one of the ones that I feel like we've hit yet, and I feel like you're probably the only one that's hit it, and it's been successful in it. So what was the idea, or what made you really change up your platform to Spotify?
Yeah. So this has actually happened on like a fluke. Like I didn't
Mm,
there was like I don't want people to think that I like planned this or anything. I totally it just happened.
right, right.
Um I basically like stopped posting on YouTube for a while cuz I was going to college and
Mhm.
I was like, okay, like this I was told so many times like this isn't a real dream. Like you need to focus on something that's going to bring you money
Yeah.
and like I really let that like dig down deep into my subconscious and that really drove a lot of like my decisions when I was in college and so I
Mhm.
stopped doing music and I focused on my studies and then stopped posting on YouTube. And then one year I was like, you know what? Fuck all of this. Like, I'm paying like all this money. It's like,
Yeah.
it's me. The loans are on me. I have to pay all of this back. And I don't even want to do this. And so I decided to take a break from college and pursue my music and work
Mhm.
full part time ish.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to some people that I knew who were doing it full time. And I was like, hey, like, what do you do? Because
Mhm.
I want to be you and I need to know what you do. So maybe I can do it too. And so she pointed me toward this website called soundbetter.com where
Mhm.
you can like outsource your vocals, writing, mixing, engineering, rapping, basically anything musical. You can be a guitar player, you can
Okay.
sell it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. And so she said, set your prices super low so people would want to like, risk working with you.
Right.
And so my price was like $40. And I put it on there, and this guy from Sweden hit me up and he's like, hey, do you want to do a cover? And I'm like, yeah, like I do covers all the time. Like I could
Right.
totally do that. And we did a cover of, I think it was Sorry, Not Sorry was the first cover I did.
Mhm.
And then we finished it, and he goes, you just wait by like next week it's going to be playlisted all over the place like and then you'll be able to like grow your following from there like people are going to know and they're going to want to work with you and I'm like okay whatever like whatever guy and then
Right.
I had a catering gig that following week so I was like catering at my uncle's restaurant
Mhm.
um and then I like checked my Spotify and at this point I had already like released two original songs so I released this cover with him and
Right.
it had like I had like 200,000 listeners, and I was like, "That's weird. Like, where did that come from?"
Yeah.
And then it kept growing, and then I kept getting notifications. You just got added onto like Tokyo Morning Rising. You just got added to this, then this, and this, and this, and this, and I was
Damn.
like, "Holy shit! Like, what did I just do?" And then he continued to ask me to work on covers.
Mm.
Um, so what I learned from that was like a lot of it comes down to like networking in
Yeah.
music but so that's how that happened. So like the Spotify thing, and also I like don't not a lot of people know this, but I don't really like being on video. It's so hard to create the right like synchronization or like lip sync video
Oh, yeah.
to
Mhm.
whatever song you have out. And I have a huge like I do love my body, but it's like a daily struggle with me where like I don't want to be on camera. I want to be
Right.
on camera. I love myself. I hate myself, that stuff. So
Yeah, for sure.
Spotify has been easy because it's just like it's my voice. If you like it, you like it. You don't have to
Right.
look at me.
And of course people love it. You have over 22 million right now? Over 22 million views like all together accumulatively?
I think actually I just surpassed like 95 million
Oh,
like
yeah.
streams. Yeah.
Oh.
I think 22 was for 2020.
Oh, 2020. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But 95 or 9.5, did you say?
95.
95? Oh,
Yeah.
man. I mean, those are just numbers that we don't hear, you know what I mean? And speaking like going back into like the Mo music industry and stuff like
Mhm.
that, it was interesting because you were, I feel like you were in it, right? In the beginning.
Mhm.
And then like you stepped away from it because you were in Spotify and not stopped doing YouTube, but then like you were on Spotify more. Do you think that that really played in the role of like you not getting, I don't want to say recognized in the Hmong community, but then like
I
not,
think that's pretty fair. Like
yeah,
that's a pretty fair statement. I think so. Also, I don't like I feel like I'm just not I don't know how to explain it. I guess like okay, so growing up my stepdad was Mika, so he was white.
oh, okay.
And so I feel like I always just talked a little bit different than most people.
Hmm.
And then when I was making music with Hmong people back in the day when, like the YouTube days, it was
Yeah.
really fun and we would sing together and stuff. But like as horrible as it, I hate to like admit this, like I don't speak Hmong very well. Like I can
Mhm.
understand my grandma when she's talking to me and like I can communicate with her
Right.
enough, but like I'm not very confident when it comes to singing in Hmong. And my mom's been begging me for every single year. She begs me to make a Hmong song.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if you teach me, like teach me how to sing Hmong, I will
Right.
like sing a Hmong song for you. But but I think that when I transitioned over to Spotify, my goals are just completely different from the
Mm.
people who were making music in the Hmong community.
Mhm.
As in, like, I really wanted to be on an EDM song, like,
Yeah.
and I wanted to be on these specific channels that I saw on YouTube. I was like, I want to be on Trap Nation, like, I want to be on like all these other ones,
Yeah. Where they do the
18
remixes and
Music.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I was like, how
Yeah.
do I get on that? And so um, I think I just had different goals. So just for like not like intentionally, but like just brought me a different path than everybody
Yeah.
else.
And I think it's really cool too because right now, like, um, I don't know if you pay attention like to the Hmong music industry right now. Like everything is changing so quick that like there's so many people, like so many young people that are coming up and making good music and changing how Hmong music really sounds. Like now there's like
Hmm.
trap music and now there's like different styles of hip hop that like people didn't really even know that the Hmong music was gonna go there. Or like you have
Yeah.
people like Clay Universe who like puts in all that like EDM style on
Hmm.
and sing it in Hmong too. So like do you
That's
ever
so cool.
yeah, like do you ever pay attention to like the Hmong music industry?
Um, Not intentionally.
Mm,
Um, it might just be because I don't know if it's the people that when you surround yourself around different people. A lot of my friends, I think I only have like one Hmong friend, to be
mm,
honest, that I talk to every single day.
okay.
And then my sister doesn't really listen to like Hmong music.
Yeah.
Um, and then my half siblings are like they can't even speak Hmong. They're
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like streaming and on Twitch and stuff. Um, the only time I hear about Hmong music is like through my cousins. My
Mm.
my cousin is actually Kid Swami, that little
Oh,
boy.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
he's like his dad is my uncle, so I see him a
Oh,
lot.
man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So that's the only Hmong music I really listen to. I've heard a few of David Yang songs, but
Yeah.
I just don't understand. I don't understand it enough to. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And it's just
Sorry.
never like brought up in a conversation, right?
Yeah, I'm just in a different crowd, I think.
Hmm. And I think that's cool too because you, like I said, like you bring a whole different perspective of music and how you live your life and the people you hang out with and the music you do. Like that speaks a lot into like what you do every day. You know what I mean? So like it
Hmm.
brings a whole different perspective, and that's why I think that's why I'm so interested because it's like I love different perspectives, you know what I mean? And, like of course I love having conversations with Hmong people, right?
Hmm.
And I love having conversation with like anybody, but then like if you bring a cool perspective that like I haven't talked to yet, I think that just brings a whole different plate of food to you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's cool. A lot of people think that there's like one way to make it in an industry, or
Yeah.
like there's one like it's like someone paved the road already, but the truth is there is no right or wrong way to do it.
Hmm.
Like as long as you are releasing music and you are promoting it and you are networking and you're being a good person and you're like and like you have the intentions and you set tangible goals, um you're doing it right, basically. You
Right.
just got to be doing it. That's
Yeah,
the
pretty
only
much
way.
like putting content out consistently, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
And that's hard too, honestly.
Yeah, it's really hard because you burn out. Like you have
Oh
to really
yeah.
gauge the days where you're like, oh, like I don't want to fucking do this, but you're like,
Mm,
but I gotta do it. But there are days where you're like, my mental health is deteriorating. If I force myself to do this, like I probably won't be able to do anything for like 3 days, and you're like,
right.
okay, maybe I should take a break. It's a
Yeah.
balance.
There is like a it's not like a work life balance, but it's kind of like a passion life balance too. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You can't be
Yeah.
doing your passion too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget to live, because that part. Um,
Right.
I like find myself sometimes like so into my devices, and
Hmm.
then everyone else around me is just like, are you gonna come back? Like, hello, like where are you? And I'm like, ah, fuck,
Right.
like I should schedule this while I'm actually giving people the attention that they deserve when I'm with them.
Hmm. That's why I don't download TikTok because I feel like I'm gonna get lost in that world.
Dude, you should download TikTok though, because I bet you could pop off with it. It's still so new, as much as like people
Right, yeah.
like want to hate on it, but the content's so easy. It's like 30 seconds and it could just be like a clip of something you say, like advice of wisdom.
Mm,
And like people will eat that up. Like that's what people want to hear. They want to know why they should chase their dreams, and that's
right,
like
right.
everything this is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Maybe I'll create content, just not watch the content. You know what I mean?
That would work too.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm that type of guy where like it's either I'm all in or I'm not at all. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, and like growing up, so you said your parents were divorced and you grew up with stepdad and he's white. How was that? Like, did Hmong people look at you differently at all?
Yeah, it was such a huge identity crisis as a child. Like it was
Oh man.
insane. I would get fun of all the time because I everyone would tell me that like I was really whitewashed, but I was like,
Mm,
just because of the way I spoke, right? And
yeah.
when I was younger, I could speak Hmong really well. I don't think I stopped speaking. I stopped speaking Hmong once I got to high school because
Mm-hmm.
there's like a situation that had happened, and I was like, had this stupid vendetta against like Asian people, and I was like, you guys hate me so much, like you would do this, like I'm so upset, and that was so dumb. Like, what an idiot! I wish I could smack her on the head. But um, yeah, so a lot of people would be like, "You're so whitewashed," and like when you introduce yourself to someone, and that's the first thing you say to them, like it doesn't really make you want to be friends with them. So I'm just
Right.
like, okay. So I would do what they said. I would be like whitewashed or whatever, and I
Mm-hmm.
hang out with other people because they didn't say things like that to me. But it definitely was a huge identity crisis growing up. I think I like one time it bothered me so much I wrote an essay about it.
Oh
About
really?
yeah, it's so funny thinking back to it. My stepdad read it and he's like, "Is this really how you feel about me?" And I'm like, "Why did you read that essay?" But yeah, it was difficult, but I think it definitely like taught like it helped me. I think that's why like my music taste is so different
Uh-huh.
because because all I listened to was like top 40 stuff
Yeah.
like in high school and middle school.
No, I feel that because like I went to a private school, right? So like
Oh, wow, okay.
yeah, so like of course like when you go to like gatherings and stuff like, oh, like you're so whitewashed, like you go to an all white school, like and stuff like that. I'm like, I mean I grew up with you guys. You guys are my cousins, like
Right.
but but
Right.
I guess I'm still whitewashed.
Yeah, for whatever reason, like we
Yeah.
have the same blood, but I just talk a
Yeah.
little differently,
Right.
and it's um it's really interesting. I think it's just like in our culture, just normally, like my mom is very opinionated, and my
Mm,
like aunts and uncles, if they think something, they'll just tell you. Like there is no filter. Like,
right.
and so I think that's where as a really sensitive kid, I didn't realize that they were just they weren't trying to be like um mean. It's just
Hmm.
they had no filter. Like whatever they thought, it just came out.
Right, right. And I think the really like seeing the culture, Hmong culture right now, it's really progressing and it's really
Hmm.
as much as people want to say like we're not progressing at all or like we haven't done anything to progress. I think we've come a long way
Oh
from
yeah,
being just Hmong to a Hmong American. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So
absolutely.
I think people need to see it as like it's a good progression and yeah, like I know OGs don't like it that like we're becoming Americanized, but I think I see it as a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? Because we came here to be Americans to be like free, but then yet
Hmm.
we're us younger generation. We feel strapped to staying the old way. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't make sense, or it doesn't click in my head. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah,
still get it though.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? They feel disrespected by all this stuff, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, yeah,
Right. Yeah, my
yeah,
grandma's still begging me to get married, and I'm just like, Grandma,
yeah.
just chill.
Relax.
Just chill.
Yeah, and you have a boyfriend right now too, right?
Yeah.
And is
Yeah.
he's in the army?
Yep. Yeah. He's in the
Yeah,
National Guard,
National
and
Guard.
um, he and I live together.
Hmm. How
Yeah.
how is it? Is it just like a long distance relationship, or how does that work? Like being in a relationship with the National Guard.
Yeah, so it's like very complicated to explain. So
Mm-hmm.
he left for deployment in 2019, I think, but he came
Mm-hmm.
back. So he only left for like a year or whatever their time was over there, and then
Yeah.
he came back. So like he's here now, and we live together. So I see him all the time. The long distance part is very difficult. However, has its benefits because when he left, I was like so secure in my like romantic relationship that
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to worry about it, and I was like really focused on my music. And that year I had done so many collaborations and like networked with people.
Yeah.
um I wasn't like looking for anyone's attention. It was just more
Right.
like these are my goals. I want to make these friends. Like I want to do
Yeah.
this and go to these shows, and it was really cool. So I think it's great, but then I do get sad when he leaves, like for that
Yeah, for
first
sure. Yeah.
couple of days I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm so depressed. Like why did you leave me?" But I get over it.
Yeah. That's awesome though. Shout outs to your boyfriend for being the National Guard too. I mean, it's working. You said networking is mostly um the name of the game for
Mhm.
music. How do you network with
Yeah.
the music industry? Because um honestly, you're the first musician that's not in the music industry that I'm talking to. So I have no idea how the music industry works. I know a little bit how the music industry works, but how does the music industry work? Because like with like 95 million views or 95 million streams, you're somewhat already in the music industry. So how does all that work?
Yeah, I like how I said somewhat because that's how I feel. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm in it
Yeah.
at all. But the networking, okay, so the good place to start is Facebook groups.
Mm,
I'm a part of this. I started joining like songwriting groups, like every single one. I would join them. Artist groups, every single one. Spotify groups, I would join every single one on Facebook. I'm a part of a lot of Facebook groups on
okay.
Facebook. And then from there, I also like there are no limits, right? Okay, so this is
Yeah.
really unorthodox, so it might sound weird coming out of my mouth, but
Okay.
I had a Tinder when I started doing my music again, and it was solely just for like finding people who would like listen to my music. And
Okay.
then I met this guy and he's like, "Hey, I make EDM music." And I'm like, "Hey, I sing." And I'm like, "Let's make a song." And he's like, "Okay." And so we made a song and we met through Tinder. And so we made a song. And that was my first like EDM track I ever made. And then another way that you can network is through just like hashtags. If you like search up like singers or
Hmm.
producers or artists or anything like that and going through people's feeds on that hashtag and liking everything. And if you like something, go to their profile, follow them, like all their stuff, message them, and then like just keep following up. Right? You're just like,
Yeah.
"Hey, like I would love to work with you on this. I would love to work with you on this." And then when I released that one EDM song with that one guy, all his friends saw that because it was a collaboration and they're like, "Hey,
Hmm.
I want to work with you." And I was like, "Okay." And then from there we did more songs. And then when other people heard that song, their friends from their friends would be like, "Hey, I want to work with you." And I'm like, "Okay." And so it like
Yeah.
had this domino
Domino
effect.
effect.
And then there's also this group. It's Have you ever heard of like those Asian groups on Facebook, like subtle Asian traits and like
Oh yeah.
um yeah, so I started there just because I wanted to see like more Asian people on my newsfeed,
Right.
and I joined that group, and then from that group many people would like create smaller groups in specific niches and
Oh
like
wow.
stuff, and then I would join that, and I'm on Discord with these people for like producing their stuff for
Mm,
like art and like like podcast stuff too. So
yeah.
just searching for that, and then going to local shows like open mics, bar shows, whatever,
Yeah.
and then like meeting the people who are on stage and like going up to them and just saying hi, or like figuring out what their name was, go on Instagram and like find them on Instagram and then like text them and find them that way.
Yeah.
um yeah, it's like endless. You could even do it from an angle where you watch the ending credits of something, or you like a song that you heard on the radio, or
Mm,
like from a certain artist who's like not billboard yet but like very talented and you think they're
right.
going to make it. Just like look up who produced their song, who wrote their song, like just backtrack everything. Like everybody tags everything on like Instagram, so
Yeah.
you go through their posts, find that person, go to that person, look at who their friends are, message all of them, and it's like a never ending
Yeah, I mean,
um
like, it seems like
reading.
you've tried so many different ways, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it's
I
really
mean,
fun.
yeah, I bet, because it's kind of like a rabbit hole that you fall into, you know?
And you get
Yeah.
to meet like so many amazing people. And then the crazy thing about it is like sometimes they keep doing music, sometimes they decide to like go into videography
Mm,
or like they just want to write. And now you have like a songwriter that wants to write songs with you all the time or like people who just want to like write songs for film. So it's like it's super cool to like watch everybody grow cuz you're following them all.
right, right. And like seeing you do all that stuff, like, so of course you hustle, but then like right now with quarantine, like what do you do right now as like a musician, or do you still, and you're still putting up consistent projects too. So what do you do right now, just like on a day-to-day basis?
So on a day-to-day basis as a musician, um I try to work on music every day. There are some days where I just like I gotta like shut off and not do
Yeah, for
anything.
sure.
But I'm working on like probably like a handful of projects. Like a few covers, a lot of originals with other people, and then also
Hmm.
like solo originals for myself. I'm starting to design some merch that I can start selling and updating my website.
Okay.
I'm working with a social media manager to help me with like branding and stuff.
Hmm.
um, and I'm writing songs. So like on my guitar, top lining on people's beats, whoever sends them to me. Basically, I'm trying to take every single opportunity that comes my way within
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, I mean, do you ever see yourself collabing with any Hmong artists at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. I think it'd be really cool if we could find like a middle ground and I could sing on a song with them or like be a
Hmm.
feature or like have them on a track with me. Um, but I've never been like approached by anybody at
Really,
all.
you've never been
Yeah.
approached?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's
Oh
just
my
like
gosh.
I don't know. Maybe they're just like, ew.
All
I don't
right,
want to
all
work with
right.
her.
For all you singers out there, I'm gonna put you guys on blast right now. Make sure you guys connect with Amanda Yang, because she is, like I said, one of the most like talented and most different perspective musicians I've ever like encountered and seen. So, putting all you Hmong singers on blast right now. Make sure you guys hop on it before it's too late. Before it's too late.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before I'm like, I don't want to do that music anymore. I'm going to be a producer. I don't sing anymore.
Right. I mean, there's just, I feel like it's a lost opportunity when like, especially now, like Hmong people don't support Hmong people. You know what I mean?
Do you think so?
I think so, because it's like we always talk about like Hmong Lu Hmong, but then like at the same
Hmm.
time, there's this shade that nobody wants to talk about, and there's this shade that everybody knows it's there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but
Yeah.
it's a whole different conversation, though.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to say, like, I know people who don't like certain people, but I'm the type of person who's like, I make my opinions on people and I'll take into your considerations of how your experience was, but like,
Hmm.
I'll make my opinion on someone before I take someone's word for it because I feel like a lot of people take in perspectives, like they think what they went through was their truth, which it is their truth. However,
Hmm.
like it can be different for somebody else. And so I try to take everything with a grain of salt until like they've really like effed me over. Then I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
I was dumb. You were right. Like,
yeah, for sure. I mean, we've all like experienced at least some sort of something like that. You know what I mean?
right, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's really not much to say when it comes to like music, because you've done so much of it already. What are your future goals for music? Like I think one of the podcasts you said that you were planning to come out with a EP real soon.
Yeah, so that's my goal, right? To create enough solo songs to have like a small EP.
Hmm.
But as I've been like working on these songs, I was like, do I still want to do EP or just really small as singles? I mean, all the songs will still be out there, but
Mm.
Maybe I'll do both, just like release my singles and just pack them together as an EP.
as a like a playlist EP. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah,
that would be
at the
pretty
very
cool.
end. Yeah.
And
Um.
are you
Oh, go
still
ahead.
are oh sorry, did you finish?
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Okay, sorry. But are you still posting on YouTube too?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I want to start again. I don't know why I ever stopped. Like that was the
Mm.
worst mistake I ever made. Um, so I am gonna be uploading all my Spotify songs that I don't have on that profile. Like all the songs are on
Oh,
Spotify,
okay.
but they're like through like YouTube Music. So I'm gonna upload all my music on my Spotify onto my profile onto
Okay.
YouTube. Yeah, and then I would like to start actually live streaming on YouTube. Um, just like
Mm.
have the camera on and people would just watch me and like how I write music.
Yeah,
Just like very behind the scenes type of stuff.
that would be pretty cool. Have you ever thought about doing that with Twitch?
Yeah, so Isabel,
Mm-hmm.
she streams on Twitch for gaming right now,
Okay.
and we talked about it and she's like, "You already have like 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. Why don't you
Mm-hmm.
just like you it's like the same platform." That's what people were telling me. You can just stream on YouTube,
I have no
right?
idea. I haven't done anything with Twitch, so
Yeah.
it's like a whole nother realm.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So that is in the realm of possibility for sure.
Mm. And would you just um doing like record yourself doing music, or like uh doing games, or just doing different activities?
Yeah. So I would work literally just like I'd plop a camera like maybe over there in this corner or like on a
Mm.
tripod somewhere.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I would just have it rolling while I work on my music. So it's not really
Okay.
like I'm putting any extra effort into anything. It's just like
Right.
you just get to see how I get song ideas or like
Mm.
how I record my vocals and how I work on projects with other people. More of so just to like give people the raw unedited parts of like my
Right.
music, not just like the finished pretty packaged part
Yeah, for
at the
sure.
end.
I like that too, because it's like it shows you, or it shows the viewers like how much time you put into that one song, and they're just not like,
Hmm.
they just don't always think like, oh, like this person is so good that like they did one take of this song, you know what I mean? And there's a
Yeah, it's
whole like
takes so
process. Yeah.
long. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, talking about the process of making a song, like what's your process of, you know, doing the whole shabam?
Yeah, so I have a few different angles that I like to take. I can either do it from like an instrument, like from scratch, from the
Mm-hmm.
bottom, just chords. Um, and then I can like what I usually do is like I have an emotion and then I'll freestyle based on that emotion, based on that chord progression. And
Mm.
if anything comes from that freestyle, then I grab that and I'll run with it and I'll try to try to write off of that. Another take I do is I will have a chorus idea and then I'll build the verse around it, or I have a verse idea and build it around that, or just like a song idea and build it around that. But like when I write, it's a lot of like visualization, like what I see in my head, and then I try really hard to verbalize it into words. So one song that I'm working on right now, a solo song. I'm like really nervous to release it because it's so different from like
Oh,
what I've
really?
done in the past. Yeah, it's called Sideline Girl. Very like bedroom pop, very like 1975
Okay.
vibes, like groovy vibes, but like
Yeah.
not really. And so I wrote the song like imagining I was the only person in the gymnasium at like prom without a date because like the person who I was in love with didn't want to be with me. Like they were also my best friend, but like
Mm-hmm.
they chose somebody else. And so I wrote a song based around that entire idea and that entire vibe.
Yeah.
So I did that. I'm trying to get into film writing, right? So like music to place into television shows.
Oh, wow.
So I've been practicing that type of writing. Another way I do it is people will send me their finished instrumentals, like a lot of EDM producers and
Mm.
artists. They send me the idea, no vocals, nothing, right? It's just like the instruments and stuff like that. And I'll go in and I will top line on it. So top line is like you're writing the melody and the lyrics.
Yeah.
And that's just like I can just hear it. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like once
Right.
it plays, you just hear the melody, you sing it out loud, and then I'll go back and put lyrics to the melody. Sometimes the lyrics come out with the melody, like just freestyling.
Yeah, for sure. I find it so hard, like, to put emotions into word, right? Or like
Yeah.
to, yeah, or like to visualize what you're seeing in your mind, but then like putting it into words. And like I've tried writing songs, and I've tried, I've tried a lot of different things with music, but I just could never really put it onto words, or like just put it onto a piece of paper. You know what I mean? Do you do you think that takes like time and practice, or do you just think like um some it's easier for some and not easy for the others?
Yeah, I honestly think it's practice. Like, and I think we're our worst critics, right? So, like, you
Mm-hmm.
think, like, you probably wrote some stuff down, but you were just like, but I'm not going to share this one with anybody.
Mm,
And a lot of the time, like, we think our stuff is so much worse than it actually is. And
yeah.
I don't know if it was Jason Mraz. Like, I used to listen to him all the time as a child because I loved his music.
Yeah.
Um, or if it was another artist, but basically like when you write songs, sometimes you have to write the bad songs before you get to the good songs. So like you'll literally have 20 shitty songs before you have that one good song.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is like it only takes like one song like to change someone's entire life.
Right.
So I think it just comes down to practice. Like you just got to
Yeah.
get all that bad stuff out and then
Yeah,
eventually
that's
the good
true.
stuff starts coming.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Cause like with my content or my YouTube
Mhm.
content, I used to make like sneaker videos and like fashion videos.
Mhm.
But then like I don't know, I just kept I didn't think they were bad, but I thought they were like guess not good enough, or not good enough for where I wanted it to be. So I just kind of
Yeah.
stopped. You know what I mean?
No, don't stop.
Yeah, I know. I think that's the biggest thing with people too. Like they feel like it's not good enough for them,
Mhm.
or they don't see any like recognition or like any like prizes or like awards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they just simply like don't really reach their goal, and then they just stop. Like, how do you motivate yourself to get back on and keep going?
That is the ultimate question.
Hmm.
I I like struggled with this for the longest time. Like honestly, my boyfriend has been the biggest reason why I got back into music. He is so supportive. I've never met anybody who he honestly on his Facebook profile page, it says that I'm Amanda Yang's biggest fan. And like I honestly believe that because he has been the one person who told me to like drop everything. I need to take my music seriously because if I'm half into like getting a full-time job and half into doing my music, I'm half-assing my music is
Hmm.
essentially what it is.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you need to focus and like set some tangible goals and write them down and work towards the tangible goals. And as that like snowballs, you can hit bigger goals. But like, I think having like a board where you have your goals written down and you can see them
Yeah.
is really helpful because once you hit like a small goal, it could be like, I got 3 followers this month, like something very tangible. You hit that
Hmm.
goal. So, like, that makes you feel good, right?
Right. Right.
And then just it comes down to like who you surround yourself around. So, you got to really like audit your circle and figure out like are these the type of people who are gonna come up with me, or are these the type of people who are gonna bring me down and like talk like mad shit, tell me how like stupid this dream is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You want to get rid of those people because
For
they're not
sure.
gonna help you as much as like you love them.
Yeah. Yeah. And like talking about your circle, like, do you think like it takes time and experience to audit your friends, like you said, or like just to like even if it's family, right? I think
Hmm.
it's important to see how much damage like people can really do to somebody
Yeah,
just by talking, you know what I mean? So I think it's really important to see, and I want the viewers to like listen and like take it in too, because it's hard when you say or you give a critique, but at the same time saying that you're not going to make it is not a critique, or you're wasting your time is not a critique. That is, I think that's
that's
just,
like an opinion.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And or they're just saying that because they wanted to do it, and
hmm,
but then you're the one that's doing it, and that's why they're just saying that, you know what I mean? Because
yeah,
he
they're
like that person
projecting.
couldn't do it. Yeah, so it's like
Hmm.
it's really difficult for creators like yourself and myself to motivate ourselves, because like it really comes down to self-motivating, because
Hmm.
I think most of the people around us or in general, like they don't see this as like could be like a real job, right? So
Right.
so I think it's really hard, especially in the Hmong community. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like just going back to that. Sorry, I have
Yeah,
a lot of
dude.
things to say too.
No, that's okay. Absolutely. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just, and it's cool because like I wanted to have you on just to talk about the Hmong community too, because again, your perspective is so different from everybody that I've talked to. You know what I mean? So it's cool that we can talk, and it's cool that I finally have you here so we can talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, ask me away. I don't know what questions you have or like,
I don't think I
um,
have any questions. I think I just want to hear your opinion and your perspective on how you see things. You know what I mean?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, is there so seeing like the OGs and stuff like that? I know your your mom is Hmong and then your stepdad is white. Seeing like OGs and stuff like that, does your mom really like push you to like be like a Hmong girl, like a typical like Hmong girl?
I know what you mean. Yeah. So, so my parents are very Americanized,
Mm,
but like still hold like the culture values really close to heart. Like my mom wants me to get married so that people will respect me, and like she wants me to like be a certain way, even though she knows like I have a big mouth. Okay. So I am the
yeah,
type of person that, like, if you say something around me, I don't care who you are. Like if it was like really stupid, I'll be like, what the fuck did you just say? Like that was dumb.
yeah.
Like why'd you let that come out of your mouth? Um and I also like curveball. My mom is Hmong, my stepdad's white. My dad, my biological dad, he is Hmong. He was adopted by a Hmong family, but he's actually Lao.
Oh wow,
So
okay.
so like um the only time I was really exposed to like deeply exposed to like Hmong culture was at family gatherings,
Yeah.
on my mom's side or on my dad's side. And
Mm.
um I think that right now, like my mom is like hoping that I just don't do something too drastic that I like she tells me every day that I'm disrespecting my grandpa by not getting married, and I'm making my grandpa look really bad. My grandpa's passed away, so he's like
Oh,
gone.
okay.
And
Yeah.
so she tells me this a lot, and I'm like, it's really like not that big of a deal, but
Yeah.
I
How
think she's just
does
worried.
how does your family see that? Well, I guess never mind. Because I was gonna
No, what's
ask.
up?
Yeah, I was gonna ask like, how does your family see you dating a white person? Because I know it's a big like thing. You know what I mean for OGs to
Mhm.
be dating somebody outside of just Hmong people.
Yeah.
But then your mom's married to a white person too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's actually really funny because a lot of people, like when my mom first remarried my stepdad,
Hmm.
she like faced a lot of like what is it, backlash or like
Yeah.
criticism from a lot of people. But
Hmm.
because my mom married him, it made it a lot easier for me to like date whoever I wanted.
Yeah.
And so I think they just like expected it. They're like, oh well, your mom did it, so you'll do
Oh
that. But like
really?
my grandma's very open. I think she just doesn't want her kids to end up alone.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
she just wants them to be with someone who's good to them.
Yeah. I mean, that's really good too. Just to be open minded. Like, well, at least you're not alone.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, "We'll take it, whatever."
Yeah. I mean, being with somebody else is better than being alone, right?
Right. So they're just gonna take whatever they can get, but, um, I don't think I don't think she's never told me she wants me to be like a typical like Hmong girl.
Hmm.
And I think the reason why she doesn't lean toward that so much is because I'm like in a very serious relationship and my boyfriend is white. So like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do to be like a good like typical Hmong girl, right? She
Yeah.
does like say things like, I've like made a joke once saying like I'm gonna have him take my last name just to see what my mom would say because I like riling her up.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Don't do that. Like he'll everyone's gonna disrespect him." And I'm like, well, I don't give a shit what anybody else thinks. So
For real. And I do want to take back what I said, like a typical Hmong girl, because I feel like I would get in trouble a lot for saying that. But
probably.
yeah,
But
my
that's
my bad
okay.
on that. But then, like I meant like because right now there's really no typical Hmong girl. You know,
Hmm.
every woman in the Hmong community right now is doing something that's like really important, and it's really like cool to see what they're doing. Like they're like um what's the word? um kind of like making our culture see a different light, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think it's really important. And yeah, sorry guys, I kind of take that back, but yeah.
I understood the context. I think out of
Yeah,
context, it
yeah.
might have gotten a little weird, but if anybody listens to that clip, they would have know, like they knew exactly what you meant.
Yeah, I mean, going along with that, how do you think, this is a whole different conversation now, sorry. But
No, you're good.
how do you think cancel culture is right now? Because like I've been scared to say stuff on my own podcast because I feel like I
Mhm.
would get canceled.
Mhm.
um do you ever see yourself facing that when you're writing music too?
Not so much when I'm writing music, just because I think I write really ambiguously, so
Hmm.
it can be interpreted in so many different ways. So I don't
Yeah.
think there's one thing that would get me in trouble. I
Hmm.
think if I got in trouble anywhere, it's probably like if I post a story or like a TikTok or like I post like yeah, like a post or something or
Yeah, for
my
sure.
opinion. But yeah, it's scary.
Hmm.
I have a mixed relationship with cancel culture. So I really like it because it keeps people accountable. However, it does suck when like you do see some people who didn't mean what they meant. Like they truly learned their lesson. They know
Hmm.
that what they did was wrong and they're very sorry for it, but they still get like effed over for it. Um, I think with the internet, like Google is free. So I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of the stuff could have been avoided if they just like educated themselves, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, so I have a very love-hate relationship for it. I think it's great because it keeps people accountable. I
Hmm.
hate how it will ruin some people, but sometimes it brings out like a light of like even like people who've gotten fired at their jobs for saying like racist things or like for having a specific opinion,
Hmm.
um, and like being very public about it. I think it's okay to be challenged because if we don't live in a community where other people can tell you what their opinions are and vice versa, then I
Yeah.
don't know. It's like a community I don't want to live in, you know?
I don't think that's a community at all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and going back to talking about music, like, so putting out music onto Spotify, is that a different process than putting out like music onto YouTube? Because I know it's a different platform, but then like do you just make music for certain platforms? Because you do make a lot of like, you do collab with a lot of EDM producers, correct?
Hmm.
Yeah. Do you get like, does that count for your streams too, or
That's a good
does
question.
yeah.
Yeah, so it depends on how they lay it out on the back end. So,
Hmm.
we to put music on Spotify, you just have to go through a distribution, like a distribution site. One
Okay.
example is DistroKid. Um, if you want to like do a self release.
Yeah.
So what happens is you put all the song information in, you upload the audio file, you put in the lyrics, the artwork, and then you put in who is on the track, right? So if you put in that the primary artist was like, let's say, just speak it out into existence. Let's say that primary artist was Zed, right? So Zed was the primary artist, and then you have an option to add a secondary artist, and then
Yeah.
that is me, Amanda Yang. So you put that there. If it's set up in that way where we're both the primary artist, then it will show up on my streams on Spotify.
Okay.
If it's like a feature where I do a job and I'm like, I don't want this on my artist profile, it doesn't really match my sound. I'm just doing this because it's like a work, right? So I'm doing it for work and this is
Yeah.
helping you. Then they're the primary artist and I'm the featured artist, and that doesn't count toward my screen, like my streams, and that just shows up on the like appears on at the very bottom. You can scroll on, and it
Okay.
says like where I appear.
Oh, the man, that's really interesting. That's a whole different game than YouTube, because
Yeah.
YouTube you just upload.
Yeah, and the cool thing is you can do both. Like I would like if I was someone making music on YouTube or if I could give advice to anyone like maybe the Hmong community who's
Hmm.
just releasing on YouTube. I actually told this to my cousin. I don't know why he doesn't listen.
Kiswami.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I think he would blow up on Spotify too.
He I
Yeah.
love his sound. It's very I think like modern, so it's
Hmm.
easy to listen to. And like the beats that he chooses, they are very close to the stuff that you hear today. So
Right.
um you could release it through Spotify, but at the same time, like go through that distribution process, but
Hmm.
at the same time, have your video ready to drop because you get the stream still. Like those distribution things, they send it to YouTube, they send it to Apple Music, Spotify,
Mm,
Deezer, Tidal,
yeah.
Amazon, TikTok. Like they send it to all these different places. So you still rack up the royalties because it is essentially like your song still.
Oh man, that's a whole different ball game. And you're pretty much making a living off of music now, aren't you?
It's I wouldn't say a living, definitely
Okay.
not. It's enough to like survive, but I want to get to a place where
Yeah.
it's like pays for more than just like
Yeah,
my
for sure.
bills. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess it's not for, like making a living, but it's making enough to support itself. Would you say?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd say that.
yeah. I think that's so awesome. I think because that motivates me to like try to make my stuff. You know what I mean? To do that too. So for sure, it's a big motivation. And I have this new segment on my podcast. And my girlfriend's gonna kill me if I forget to put this segment in.
What's the
But
segment?
so three things. What are you most obsessed about? Like on this day, three things. What are you most obsessed about right now?
Three things. Okay. I'm like I'm very obsessed with um I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know it's
Let's
hard, right?
see.
Just to like do everything day to day, and like you like things, and
Mhm.
you just don't really think about it.
Yeah, I suppose like I'm super obsessed with my dog. Like he's this white pit bull terrier, super tiny and
Mm,
like so cuddly and so amazing and so sweet. So I'm very obsessed with him. He's like my best friend because I'm home every day. So like I
right.
work from home and do my music and stuff, and he's always there, just like chilling and
Hmm.
relaxing. So I'm obsessed with him. I am obsessed with, honestly, like music. I cannot get enough of it. Sometimes I feel
Yeah.
like I'm manic because of like how fast my mind runs when I'm working on it, and like I just
Yeah.
never want to stop. I like have to push the brakes and be like, "Okay, girl, you got to stop or you're going to burn out." So, music for sure, like making music. And I'm obsessed with I've been watching WandaVision with my boyfriend on Disney
Oh,
Plus. Have you
yeah.
been watching that?
I have. I'm a big MCU fan.
Yeah, so what is today? Thursday. So tomorrow new episodes
Tomorrow.
coming out?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I'm living for that.
It's gonna go
How
down
about
tomorrow.
how about you?
Oh man, I did not think you were gonna reverse that. Um honestly, really I've been back on to gaming with my cousins. We play Apex Legends a lot, almost every night. It's like a first person shooter game. But
Awesome.
yeah, they just got back on it, so I had to back on to get the OG team on. So, but yeah, I've been really obsessed with that. Shoot, yeah, this is hard.
Right. I'm like, you're in
Yeah,
my shoes now.
right. Um, for sure, this podcast because I did take a break the last week, and
Hmm.
I just needed that break and just to kind of refresh, like you said, just to get a little refresh and get my mental straight. But I love this podcast, and I love the people that I meet, like yourself, and
Thank you. It was
a
great
lot of
meeting you.
people that I would never imagine meeting. You know what I mean? So, or even having a conversation with. Like I've looked up to you so for so long now, and then getting to meet with you and chat with you, like I think that's like such a blessing. So I love this podcast. It's my baby, and I'm obsessed with it. Um, the third thing, I guess my girlfriend, like your boyfriend, she's my biggest supporter.
Mm,
She whenever I spend money on this podcast or to buy new equipment, and she's just like, "Well, you better make sure you make that money back, from your podcast. I don't want that money back from anywhere else." You know what I mean?
oh,
Yeah. So, uh, really obsessed with her. Valentine's Day is coming, so we're gonna be doing some special because I never really, I'm not that romantic type. I'm just like, let's just relax, let's just chill.
right.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess those three right now are the biggest three things that I'm obsessed with. So
I like that answer.
yeah, are you guys doing anything special for Valentine's?
So we went on a Valentine's dinner last night, actually. Have you ever heard of the Melting Pot in Minneapolis?
Yes, I think I have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like cheese fondue and like
Hmm.
cooking at the table and stuff like that. So we did that last night. It was very fun and
Oh yeah, I saw that on
delicious.
your story. Actually, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we did for Valentine's Day. He is I think he's gone this weekend, so I'll probably just be like honestly just working on music. I have like a couple meetings set up with to meet like new artists too, so I set
Oh,
them up over
nice.
this weekend. So some collabs on the way. I'm so
Yeah, for
excited.
sure. Make sure you guys look out. And yeah, we're reaching our end now. Any is there anything you want to plug? Your all your social medias or new work that you're coming up with?
Yeah, I think I have like over 9 songs right now in the works like right now
Oof.
that I'm looking to release sometime this year, so look out for
Okay.
that. And my social media, I make it super easy. You just search Amanda Yang Music on any platform and I'll pop up. Like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, um,
TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah, TikTok.
Yeah, I'll be sure to put those in the description as well.
Awesome.
Well, Amanda Yang, thank you so much for stopping by and having a conversation with me. Like I said, I was really nervous throughout the whole thing, just because I'm such a big fan of you and your perspective of life and all this stuff. So thank you so much. It's such a blessing to meet you and call you a friend, maybe
Yeah,
even.
absolutely. Yeah, if you ever need anything, hit me up. This was really fun. I love doing this type of like one-to-one conversation with people.
Yeah, for sure. So make sure you guys go check out Amanda Yang everywhere. She's everywhere. She's popping everywhere. All those 9 projects, maybe even more throughout the year. So
Yeah.
make sure you guys take a listen. Just listen with an open mind, and everything doesn't have to be Mo music. It could be a Hmong girl singing an EDM song. So make sure you guys listen and make sure you guys have a blessed day. It's Austin from Platinum Podcast and Amanda Yang signing out. Peace.